I see that the tide has shifted away from John Cena in, I guess you can call it the internet wrestling community, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I like hate it so much because I look at Seth Rollins and John Cena and I say one of those guys is a great champion. One of those guys has been very refreshing. Every time I see him on TV, he's doing great things. He's a part of compelling stories and just interesting shit that's happening. And the other guy is Seth Rollins. Because he isn't the fucking interesting one. He isn't the refreshing one. He isn't the great champion. Like, all of the stuff that surrounds Seth Rollins, it's just a dark cloud of bullshit. And I'm so tired of it. And I get whatever. People have their opinions, you know, I'll give you that. But it's just that we'll sacrifice John Cena and it's like throw him to the wolves and we're going to bring Seth Rollins up to the mountaintop just because we don't like John Cena and we don't like what he's doing and we don't want him to become a champion. Shit, I want an interesting champion. I want a legit champion. I want a credible champion. And if John Cena is that guy, then damn it, give him the title. I don't have any kind of stakes in Seth Rollins keeping the fucking championship, especially in the character that he has right now. Take it from him.
John Cena is not going to be the U.S. He's not going to be the type of champion with the WWE title that he is with the U.S. title. That's the problem. Because he's so interesting right now.
Could it be any worse than what we have right now?
Okay, you're right about that. I'm not going to lie. But it's just that it's not going to be much better. I'll say it'd be equal in the fact that it's boring. Because we've seen Cena in the world title picture. The reason why he's so interesting right now is because he's in the U.S. title picture, mixing it up with basically everyone else. And so that's really interesting and new. But if he wins the world title, that's all gone. And I'm surprised. One second. I'm surprised that you're so, like, you want to hold on to Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, but you don't want to hold on to Cena being in the U.S. title mid-card. Because that's awesome.
I don't know. See, I'm not one of those people that's like anti-John Cena in that top tier in WWE. I look at it as a case-by-case basis. If the storyline that I'm getting is good with him this time around, then I'll roll with it. But I will say that the reason that John Cena has been refreshing is because he's been in a different position in the card, working with different people. So it's kind of like WWE has a lot to work with here, and they're in a bit of a bind, and it's going to be interesting to see how they work their way out of it. And I mean, there are options out there. You know?
Again, like I was saying before, I would want Seth Rollins to win this match so much more if he was a lot more interesting. And again, I have been anti-Cena, and I don't want to see him with the belt. I do agree with someone in the chat who just had said that, I want something new. I want new champions. I don't want the same thing I've been getting the last 10 years. I couldn't agree more. But the problem is WWE hasn't generated any of those stars, those beautiful things called stars that are supposed to emerge from every generation. We're still riding on the coattails of that ruthless aggression stars in Orton, in Cena, in, some of those guys. Like, what's the biggest star that's come out of the last 5 years? Fucking Sheamus? I mean, come on.
It's been CM Punk.
Well, CM Punk, okay, that's fine. But, I mean, who's in the company right now? That's more what I'm talking about. But I do agree with you. Yes, CM Punk, big star. Daniel Bryan had small runs, but again, gets injured. So there's that. And it's like, there's nothing new that you've really been getting. So to have Cena win the belt again isn't exciting at all. But it's a hell of a lot better than having a guy who's champion that doesn't have the damn credibility, and that honestly has had such a bad title run. So yeah, Cena winning will feel refreshing at first, but I think Steven hit the nail on the head when he said that it's not going to be as refreshing or as good long-term as the U.S. title run, because he's not going to face those guys. You're not going to see him having matches with necessarily Owens and Cesaro, even though he should be having matches with those guys. Those are the guys he should be putting over for the world title. There's no question about that. This reign of Cena's should be a defining moment for someone. If somebody big doesn't end, like new and big, doesn't end up winning the championship from John Cena, meaning the world title, assuming he wins it. I know we're a lot of assumptions here. But if he does win this title, somebody new needs to win that belt from him. That's what I thought with the U.S. title, and I still wish that was happening. I really do. But they don't have other options for Rollins to face at SummerSlam, and so what's happened many times is going to happen again, and it's just not all that surprising, really. So
yeah, and this isn't WWE's thing. I mean, it isn't John Cena's thing. It's WWE's, because I look over the landscape of WWE, and I see 3 contenders for the World Championship. John Cena, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar. That's it. and they all debuted, 13 years ago?
I'd put Kevin Owens in there, to be honest with you.
No.
He beat John Cena clean. Like, no matter what happens, he beat John Cena clean. To me, he already won the world title, because that's bigger than winning the world title.
I don't know. I'm still gonna have to wait and see on Kevin Owens. I think that if they wanted to possibly go there, like if we rewrite history a little bit, go back in time and maybe avoid some other things that happened, and then you want to take him down a different route. But Kevin Owens, where he is right now, I don't see it. I don't see it at all for him.
There's been no conscious, continuous effort to build somebody up to be a world champion level caliber star. There's a ton of guys on that roster right now who have that capability, and guys like Owens.
There has been one, but it failed.
Oh yeah, Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, well let's see where that.
You can't really blame them. I think they were gonna pull the trigger, but they said, okay, well it's too soon. And I still think they're going to. I still think Roman Reigns is winning at WrestleMania 32.
I've just never seen a point in time in WWE's history. I've been watching for a long time. I've never seen a point where there's been so much talent on that roster, yet there's so few people who are in the main event. So few or are really in the main event. Even if they main event a pay-per-view, they're not really in the main event. Like, Dean Ambrose isn't really a main eventer. Yeah, sure, we can say all day that it's a shame that he went from main eventing a couple of months ago to now being in a, mid-card hell or whatever we want to call it. But let's be honest, was he ever really a main eventer? No, he wasn't. And that's where my problems lie with the current WWE product, because there's so much talent.
He was
there's
a main
so
eventer.
much talent.
When he was in the Shield.
Okay, that's fine to say, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Because, look, those were some main event quality matches.
They sure were. They sure were. But again, that's not how it is anymore. Things have changed. Yeah. And that's what sucks. But you have guys that they start to pull the trigger on, like even Kevin Owens, and they ultimately end up still losing. And it's just like, why? Why not just pull the trigger? Why not take a risk? WWF, I say that with emphasis, took a shit ton of risks in the late 90s, and they ended up winning that damn Monday Night War and became the empire that they are today because they took risks on guys. Because there were guys who just did something and they ran with it instead of just going with the same old shit. If they always went with the same old shit, then Hogan would have been a 20-time champion. I mean, come on. Or whoever was there.
For it now.
Still training for WrestleMania 32, brother.
I don't know. Hell, WWE, with how they're trying to sell out the place, they just might go back.
It's got to be Hulk Hogan versus the New Day, brother.
I just thought about that. You know what? We're going to move on.